Hi there. My name is Timothy Wilkie, and if what I say next destroys my life forever, that's okay because my life was already on a downward trajectory, right? So that's fine. I'll live with that. I've had to live with it my entire life. So, if you don't know, um, are we judging people by their choices and by their actions, or are we just judging people by their mental states? Their states of mind. Um, People have all kinds of mental states. People have depression, people have anxiety, trauma. Uh, People can be, of kind of an illicit drug high kind of state. People can be in all sorts of mental states. But being drunk or high or being traumatized or depressed, it doesn't show you the full array of human choices, right? If someone gets in a car and drinks and drives, then obviously we're not going to have a whole lot of empathy for that person, right? But if someone drinks themselves to the point of alcoholism and is slowly dying in their apartment, well, then we probably still will have some sort of empathy with them, even though it was their choice to do it, right? We can at least acknowledge that some people have a genetic predisposition to alcoholism, right? We can understand that. We can understand that not everyone who smokes weed enjoys it, and that some people like me who are schizophrenic have their entire worlds distorted, just earth-shattering, reality-bending destruction to their minds, at least, at least for the mental state that they're experiencing it. But mental states are a lot like a few things. Mental states, they do not describe the events of someone's life, right? Like a criminal record. Native Aboriginal people, they may commit crimes, especially in Canada, because they don't want to be hassled by the court system. That doesn't mean a lot of them, actually committed a lot of these crimes, whether they're non-violent or not. It just means that the Native Aboriginal people, they're in destitute areas and they don't understand the law and how it works. And just growing up poor and uneducated, they would rather just deal with the charge and just not deal with the hassle. So, does their criminal record really tell you who they are as a person? Well, no. Right? So, this next thing I'm going to say, it will destroy my life, but that's okay, right? Because I'd rather just die with the truth at this point. If I'm going to be seen as an absolute joke, why not? Let's just go for it. Because some of the most powerful people in Toronto just want to destroy me, so go ahead. Why not? My life is already going there. But, when I was 19, I sex assaulted a nurse, right? I called the ambulance at the time because I was having a bad trip at my apartment. Um, I didn't want to hurt my mom, so I called the ambulance and they drove me to the emergency. And there I blacked out and I grabbed a nurse's crotch. I grabbed her pussy, right? And I don't remember that interaction. I blacked out for probably 12 hours, 24 hours plus, right? I remember talking to my mom and having a conversation that I was in the middle of that I don't remember starting and I don't remember ending. And then I woke up the next morning and I was talking to my mom again, right? I don't remember what happened. So, of course, uh, I'll mention it in passing. Hank Insigno was at my correctional facility in 2011. He forced me under duress to sign a document. So therefore, I don't know if I ever even did sex assault this person when I was 19 because I had a mental episode. And although I pled guilty, I was trying to be responsible, right? And in court at 19, I just didn't have a lot of experience with sitting in court. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know people were talking about me. My lawyer was speaking on my behalf. I don't even remember really seeing a video of the sex assault that happened, right? Or even if they filed that kind of evidence. I don't know. And if I tried to file court papers for it, I doubt I would find it because it's been over 10 years now. I was 19 then and I'm 32 now. All right, so it's been a very long time. But what does that mean, right? You want the full context of who I am, or do you just want to know the mental state that I'm in at this current moment? Um, well, I am traumatized like I was at 19, but of course, I'm traumatized for an entirely different reason now, because my life is spiraling and I have no one. But At the time when I was 19, I actually was traumatized for the fact that I sex assaulted someone. Because at 19, even then, I never had any love in my life. Never had a girlfriend. I hooked up a couple times, but it was meaningless and it was not very fun. Um, so yeah, I was incredibly traumatized, and the mental state that I was in was shame. I was in a very shameful mental state. Uh, it started off as like BDSM, like fetish kind of porn. Started off as just feeling hatred for myself, feeling like I'm an abuser and I'm a victimizer. So that shame started turning to self punishment. And my internet history got darker and darker and darker because I fucking hated myself. And it's just like, I don't know if I was even watching this porn because it was just, well, I was addicted. I did have a porn addiction for a very long time, right? And, because as soon as I moved in with my father after the pandemic, I had to move in with a person that was sex abusing me as a child, right? And I wasn't dealing with it properly. The fact that I couldn't get a job, early on to those years after I was 19, after I became an adult, that sex assault charge changed my entire life. I couldn't even date women because I felt so guilty, right? And my porn history and my addiction reflected that. But because I was living with my father, yeah, I was watching BDSM porn and fetish porn and some weird anime porn, right? And the thing I'll say about my father is that I saw, growing up, there was a picture of me and my father, me, my father, me as a child. And I had to deal with psychopaths at a very early age because my father abused me. And, my doctor, Dr. Nazarene Roberts, was also a sex abuser. And there was also other sex abusers as the nurses and security guards at the KGH Hospital and at the Hotel Dieu Hospital in Kingston, Ontario. So as a result, moving in my father during the pandemic, there was a girl that I met at the college, and man, I really thought that if it wasn't for the pandemic, maybe I would finally be in a relationship. I just fell head over heels for her. Being a hopeless romantic, it didn't mean anything, right? I just someone I met, but I moved back into my father's house, my sex abuser as a child, and yeah, I was watching weird ass anime porn, right? And I'll just say this, a mental state, that shame became guilt, right? Because I was watching this fucking porn, and it was just like a cycle of shame and guilt that I could not escape from. And I was being hacked. And I believe I was being cyber attacked, right? Because they would change the thumbnails on my YouTube, and it was just, they were hacking me to cause me psychological torture. So I was in a mental state, right? There was not a philosophy of me wanting to rape children or rape anyone or rape women or hurt people. I was just in a cycle of shame and guilt. I was punishing myself through my internet history, right? And because I had a porn addiction, if they were hacking my computer, right, they could have made my internet history look worse than it was. They could have changed hyperlinks. So when I clicked the thumbnail on Pornhub, the hyperlink could have led to another website, and it could have made my internet history look sketchy. I don't know. It's a superficial way to try and do that. And if the police were actually being genuine, then they would know that there was obvious foul play at work. But look, if this is going to destroy my life, then fine. But the government is going to upload onto Pornhub like your license, your OHIP, and all this shit. A lot of people are going to look weird, and they're just going to be describing people's mental states. They're not going to be genuine to the trauma people are going through. It doesn't mean anything. Most of my internet history is older women because I am attracted to older women, and that's the women I wanted to be with, but I couldn't because I never had money and I'm just a jobless loser.